Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Dill. Brent Venables in Oklahoma. There simply have not been many programs that have been more impressive than what we're seeing down there in Norman, Oklahoma. Massive Tilly. Saturday afternoon, Jackson Arnold, Hugh Freeze, and the Auburn Tigers coming to town. What makes Oklahoma so dangerous in this football game? Now, Dill, we'll get nitty gritty and we'll talk about some coordinator matchups that intrigue the boys. We're going to talk about some personnel matchups that we think are intriguing. Can we start big picture here? When you have the quarterback advantage, when you have the defense advantage, when you are at home in this football game, those are some of the more important storylines that should make Oklahoma fans feel really good. And hell, Dill, that's going to be something we're talking about with Oklahoma almost every single Saturday in the fall. Like how many teams got better quarterback play and how many teams got better defenses than Oklahoma? I don't know if it's that many on Oklahoma's schedule. So that alone should make Oklahoma fans feel really damn good about what this team can be in 2025. But there are some matchups in this game particular that I think are very intriguing as well that I want to get into before we do. And as always, to the Oklahoma fans, vibe check. I asked the Auburn fans for the same thing. How are we feeling about this game couple of days out? The amount of support this fan base has shown the boys through the highs and lows of what we've seen from the Brent Venables era. Been amazing. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Dill, I'll tell you what fires me up the most, and something that not enough of the national media be talking about. What Ben Arbuckle has done with this Oklahoma offense. So yes, John Mateer has been phenomenal. There are certain shortcomings that I think Oklahoma has on offense. The way Ben Arbuckle has maneuvered around those shortcomings and has built an offense that leans into the strengths of this Oklahoma offense, that should fire up a lot of Oklahoma fans. Now, we have a defensive coordinator and DJ Durkin that's coming to town. What is the matchup that you are looking at most with DJ Durkin? Because we know one thing about DJ Durkin. He coming on the road to Norman, Oklahoma, and he going to be blitzing his ass off. What are you looking for from John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle to kind of combat what we're going to see from DJ Durkin here?
Probably what we saw against Michigan, who obviously tried to heat him up too, and frankly
Yeah.
weren't able to get pressure without heating him up. So that's another thing to kind of watch. Like maybe last year, teams didn't even need to really blitz too
Sure.
much against Oklahoma. The offensive line didn't play well enough. Right now, I think you do need to heat them up a little bit with some pressures and some other things because the O-line's played well for Oklahoma so far. And then I think you get into I think you got an offensive coordinator quarterback combo who are really in sync. And John Mateer, I mean, he's just making really quick decisions. But I also think they've designed an offense with like the skill players around them that really fit that kind of quick passing attack that Ben Arbuckle's brought. Like it's not like they have a ton of jumbo, big vertical wide receivers on this team, but everybody can get in and out of their routes really quickly, and they all kind of make plays with the ball in their hands. So it's a really good match.
Sorry, I was chomping at the bit to cut in there. My fault. That is the thing I love most about what Ben Arbuckle does, and he's done that historically everywhere he's been. He's especially done it really well at Oklahoma. All right, what kind of wide receivers do I have? Deion Burks, Isaiah Satang, even Jaron Kanik. I'm gonna throw. He's emerging as one of the better tight ends in the country right now, which is one of the coolest storylines we've seen in all of college football. What do all those cats do well? Really quick twitch, man. They separate. And then when they separate and get the football quickly in space, they're dynamic after the catch and deal. That's something that we talked about with Auburn, and we're going to talk about it for Oklahoma as well. Auburn struggled to tackle in space. They've missed over 35 tackles so far, have given up over 350 yards after the catch on the year. That plays into exactly what Oklahoma wants to do.
And it allows them to replace, because you talk about deficiencies. Another clear one is they don't run the football particularly well. But again, they can keep themselves on rhythm with what they're doing. Like their ball's getting out of the hand really quickly. Yeah. They're not having a ton of incompletions when they're really humming at the level you want. And that's kind of replacing more of a sustainable, effective run game. Because again, without John Mateer making things happen, they're not really getting a ton from that attack.
Okay, so I will say this because I've heard that a lot. I think that's something, if you're an Auburn fan, you're probably leaning into how we're Michigan fans. That was something we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Is that, hey, Oklahoma struggles to run the football. If Oklahoma was not converting 50% of their third downs and not doing an exceptional job winning on first down and getting ahead of the chains, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But again, once again, going back to Ben Arbuckle, it's like, all right, what does my football team do well? Okay, maybe we don't in our base run stuff. We don't run the football that well. Okay, that's okay. How do I build this offense around that? Well, the quick game, high percentage throws, staying ahead of schedule, using John Mateer and his legs in the run game. They've replaced the run game with high percentage quick throws to the outside. And Dill, you're basically running the football to stay on schedule and minimize pass rush. You can do the exact same thing with quick game and high percentage throws. Here's the other thing that I'm very curious about. John Mateer's been awesome against the blitz all year. And Michigan tried to blitz him. John Mateer was really damn good. You have to play man coverage behind it. And if you don't get home and keep John Mateer in the pocket, he's such a weapon on those off-script plays. That is a storyline that we talked about with Auburn, though, because they're athletic on the defensive line. Like, how well can John Mateer get outside the pocket and extend plays like he did against Michigan against a hyper-athletic defensive line that certainly can get after the passer?
And that's one thing. Like, I know we talk about the run game maybe not being super important to this offense, but if Auburn's going to go small on the defensive line, which we have seen them do, they kind of line up essentially 3 defensive ends and a small defensive tackle to try to rush the passer. I do think that's where, like, do you think Oklahoma needs to be able to punish them a little bit and at least get, like, have some degree of physicality in that attack? Like, just to attack that front that I do think can pose some problems for John Mateer.
Well, the thing is, Auburn only really goes to that in those obvious passing situations. And
but that's almost what I'm thinking. Like, well, if you're playing a team that's almost in constant obvious because they're throwing the ball a lot, do you think like Oklahoma will need to be able to show that they have something on the ground that can be effective?
To be honest, no, because the whole frustrating part about, hey, keep John Mateer in the pocket and you make him not a good quarterback. That's just like a fallacy. That's not true. John Mateer is really good when he gets outside the pocket and starts extending plays, but he's also been really good in the pocket, just picking defenses apart as well. And so this idea of, look, if you're Auburn, one of your big goals is to keep John Mateer in the pocket and limit his ability to go put on that Superman cape and go make plays. But at the same time, that's not the whole war. Like, John Mateer has shown you he can sit in the pocket and carve up a defense. Now, here's the other big storyline, Dale. Brent Venables versus Jackson Arnold. This is probably the biggest mismatch, right? I mean, you look at this Oklahoma defense at 8 points per game allowed, number 3 in the country. They had a young quarterback come to town a couple of weeks ago, and Bryce Underwood, and made him look like a young quarterback. This is what Oklahoma fans should feel really good about, is you got the best defensive, I'm going to just go out and say that the best defensive play caller of our generation. Is that fair to say about Brent Venables? Because I think it's pretty damn close.
He's right there.
You got a quarterback that Brent Venables knows very well. Like, he knows what Jackson Arnold does well. He knows what Jackson Arnold does not do well. He knows the throws J.A. can make. He knows the throws that Arnold can't make. Him calling this defense in this game, I think, is a bigger advantage to Oklahoma than many people are talking about in this matchup.
And that's the thing. I do wonder, like, can Auburn play any sort of semblance of a game that Oklahoma was able to play against Michigan? Because that to me is where Arnold struggled at times. Like, when he had to make quick decisions at Oklahoma, he turned the ball over a ton. Like, he actually had some moments where when he had some time to dice it up, he was kind of able to do it. And that's where I think you get that issue where, Oklahoma, like, kind of similar to DJ Durkin, they're going to be coming after him. If they play anyway, like they did against Michigan, it's going to be pretty heavy boxes and pretty aggressive trying to affect the quarterback. Is Jackson Arnold going to be able to do what John Mateer does, where he does make really quick decisions and he makes the right decisions, doesn't put the ball in harm's way? Everything about Jackson Arnold so far, haven't really seen
Jackson Arnold's been this year. Nobody, you are right. Sorry to cut you off again, but nobody has really sent a lot of pressure at Auburn. Like, there's been a lot of teams that are really concerned about Eric Singleton. They're really concerned about Cam Coleman. They're leaving their 2 safeties high. Nobody's really sent a lot of pressure to Jackson Arnold, but I'll say this: when he does see pressure, when he does see blitz packages, he has struggled. And if there's one knock, I think Jackson Arnold's played good for Auburn so far. 2.99 seconds time to throw. Like, he's holding on to the football. And so if you're Brent Venables, I would be absolutely stunned if the game plan on defense is not very similar to what you saw from Michigan. We're going to put bodies in the box. We're going to stop the run. We're going to send pressure, and we're going to show Jackson Arnold, or we're going to make Jackson Arnold show that he can beat us through it with his arm through the air.
Now, the one X factor is you have a wide receiver in Cam Coleman, especially, who is a real problem in one-on-one matchups, especially just like kind of putting the ball up in the air a little bit. So that to me is kind of going to be what you look for. Like Michigan didn't exactly have the boundary guys that constantly hurt you. Auburn's quite a bit better than Michigan on the edge. That's kind of the matchup. Like Cortland Guillory's been that guy this year so far. He looks really good, but that's still probably your question against a really elite passing attack. Does Oklahoma have those dudes in the secondary?
That's what I think. To be honest, to me, I've been pleasantly surprised with what Oklahoma has been in the secondary. And this is the game where you find out again. I think Oklahoma has passed a lot of different eyeball tests. This is one that I'm intrigued with because we know Brent Venables, it's not only going to be against Auburn. It's going to be against most teams because we got a long sample size of Brent Venables calling them plays. And he likes to bring a lot of blitz packages. Well, when you want to blitz, it's all fun and games to talk about blitzing. Got to have defensive backs that you trust to hold up on the islands. I think Oklahoma has shown so far that I think they have those defensive backs. But Saturday afternoon in Norman, Oklahoma, we're going to find out just how good these defensive backs are. But I'll say this, Cortland Guillory, forget being one of the best freshmen in the country. He's been one of the best pure cornerbacks in the country so far through 2025. I think there's a lot that if you're an Oklahoma fan, you feel good about. And again, what should excite Oklahoma fans is this should be a common occurrence on Saturdays in the fall. Like when you have the quarterback edge. And how many quarterbacks in the SEC you taking over John Mateer right now? Because the answer ain't many, if any. How many defenses are you taking over Oklahoma right now? Maybe LSU. Like there's
they're like right in the thick of it. And there's some good SEC defense. I'll give you that. But you're right at the quarterback spot. I don't know that you see another John.
So when you have the quarterback edge and the edge on defense, it all of a sudden gets really hard to not be confident going into game day every single Saturday. And again, we not to say we called this by any means. I think a lot of people knew Oklahoma could be dangerous. That was always the talking point. So like John Mateer hits the way we think he can hit, and this Oklahoma defense is good the way we think it can be good. Well, hey, that's kind of what we're seeing. And that's what gets Oklahoma to be a damn dangerous football team in 2025. And again, we're going to continue to find out more about this team as 2025 goes on. And right now, this is an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about Oklahoma. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.